What up, though? What it do? You already know how to come through. This cat right here been accused of four murders, and I guess people thought he'd get released, but as you see, he's still in custody. So I just thought we'll run it real quick and get our own perspective on this. Nitty, D City, straight gritty, no pity. Who's rocking with me? Who's kicking with me? Who's fading with me? Who's kicking it with their brother? Frank Nitty, two T's like two titties. Let's get it.
Mr. Kohburger right now behind the on hold. It's a limited request. And Mr. Thompson.
The state's position is Mr. Kohburger is not entitled.
So I'm going to rewind it just a little bit and so we can kind of catch what happened.
She died. You have
for asylum to with
the Idaho quadruple murders in court. Bryan Kohburger, let's listen right here on Live Now.
District Court. This is State of Idaho versus Bryan C. Kohburger, cause number CR 29222805. Mr. Kohburger is present in court. He is in custody. He is appearing with his attorney, Ms. Taylor, Mr. Thompson, Ms. Jennings, on behalf of the state. This is the time set in the matter for initial appearance. Mr. Kohburger, I am going to advise you of the rights that you have in this case. I am going to go over the criminal complaint with you, and then we're going to discuss setting the matter for further hearing. You have the following rights. You have the right to remain, the right to the presumption of innocence. That means the state bears the burden to prove that you are guilty of this offense beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to a preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is a probable cause hearing. At that hearing, the state must establish that more likely than not, these felony offenses were committed and you were the one that committed the felony offenses. You have the right to have that hearing within 14 days if you remain in custody. If you are bound over at that preliminary hearing to district court, if the court finds probable cause, you would be bound over to district court. And at that time, you make your plea of not guilty, and you can have a jury trial set within 6 months of your appearance in district court. At both your preliminary hearing and your jury trial, you have the right to confront and question any evidence or witnesses called against you. Call witnesses on your own behalf and compel witnesses to be present and testify at the state's expense. You have the right to be represented by a lawyer. If you cannot afford one, one could be appointed to represent you based upon your financial need. You also have the right to appeal any conviction in your case. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
I am now going to go over the criminal complaint with you. Count 1 of the criminal complaint charges you with the felony offense of burglary. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohburger, on or about November 13th of 2022 in Latah County, state of Idaho, did unlawfully enter a residence located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder in violation of Idaho Code 18-1401 and 1403. The maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is not less than 1 year in prison, no more than 10 years in prison, and or a $50,000 fine or both. Do you understand?
Yes.
Count 2 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohburger, on or about November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogan, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogan, from which she died, in violation of Idaho Code 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. The maximum penalty for this offense, if you were to plead guilty or be found guilty, is death or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Count 3 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohburger, on or about November 13th of 2022 in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Kaylee Gonsalves, a human being, by stabbing Kaylee Gonsalves, from which she died, in violation of IDAHO Code 18-4001, 4002, 4003, 4004. Again, the maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Count 4 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohburger, on or about November 13th of 2022 in Latah County, Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being, by stabbing Xana Kernodle, from which she died, in violation of IDAHO Code 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. Again, the maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is up to death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Count 5 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohburger, on or about November 13th of 2022 in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing Ethan Chapin, from which he died, in violation of Idaho Codes 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. And again, the maximum penalty for this offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is up to death and imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
And Mr. Kohburger, would you like to represent yourself, hire a lawyer, or see if you qualify for court-appointed counsel?
I have court-appointed counsel.
Court has reviewed your application for attorney at public expense. I do find that you are indigent and do qualify for court-appointed counsel. I will appoint Ms. Taylor to represent you in this case.
His voice doesn't sound like those calls people are
Ms.
saying.
Taylor, have you had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Kohburger about speedy preliminary hearing and setting this matter?
Your Honor, I have. We would ask the court to set the status hearing in a week or two to make a final report.
Okay. And Mr. Thompson, Ms. Jennings are in agreement with that.
That's fine with the state, Your Honor.
I will go ahead and set this matter for a status hearing then on the calendar on January 12th. At 10 o'clock a.m. We will make sure notice is sent, and then Ms. Taylor, do you wish to argue bail at this time?
Your Honor, I would like to ask the court to consider setting a bond. Mr. Kohburger right now is on a no bond hold, but it's a limited request as I don't have enough information. We are new to the case. We haven't reviewed very much in the way of information about the case, and we have just done our own work on the case. But we would want the court to know that Mr. Kohburger has a good family that stands behind him.
And Mr. Thompson.
The state's position is that Mr. Kohburger is not entitled to bond in this case because the charges as is noted on the arrest warrant itself. Under Code 19-816, 19-29, on which we both specify that given the potential penalties in this case, there's no direct bail. The defendant was arrested 3,000 miles away across where his family is, he can ask that he remain in custody.
At this point in time, pursuant to Idaho Criminal Law 46B and Idaho Code 19-816 and 2903, I am going to leave the bail set at this case as no bail at this point in time until I have additional or further information at a later date and time. So with that, then Mr. Kohburger, you will be remanded in custody and remain in custody on the no bail pending further proceedings in this matter. Is there anything further in the case then for today, Mr. Thompson?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is asking for no contact orders for various family members of deceased and also Mr. Biden and roommates. I've spoken briefly with Ms. Taylor, she indicated there's no objection.
And Ms. Taylor, is that correct?
That is correct.
So I will go ahead and issue those no contact orders. So I do have a no contact order then for the named individual of Dylan Mortensen, Bethany Funk, as well as the family members and Mr. Chapin, the family members of Ms. Kernodle, excuse me. It's Mr. and Ms. Laramie, Mr. Mogan, Ms. Cheeley, and then a number of members of the Gonsalves family. Those specific names will certainly be provided to you, Mr. Kohburger, by way of being provided notice of these documents. You'll get a copy of these no contact orders. What you do need to be advised of and what will be in this no contact order is you are prohibited from having any contact with them whatsoever. You cannot contact them through third person in writing or by any electronic means. You cannot Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, use the phone to communicate with them or otherwise any form of communication in direct or indirectly with them. You cannot engage in any conduct that would harass, stalk, threaten, use, attempt to use, or threaten to use any physical force or violence upon them or place them in reasonable fear of bodily injury. You cannot go within or knowingly remain within 300 feet of their person or their home, workplace, or any other place where they might be. There are no exceptions to these orders. And if you do violate these orders, it is a new misdemeanor offense. It is punishable by up to a year in jail and or a $1,000 fine or both. At this point in time, due to being in the magistrate's division here, at this juncture, I am going to issue the no contact orders for a period of 2 years. And then if it needs to be modified or changed by additional judge, it can be done so at that time. Is there anything further, Mr. Thompson? Anything further, Ms. Taylor? No. All right, thank you. We are adjourned.
And that was the first court appearance in Idaho for Bryan Kohburger. This coming on the day that his affidavit was released, getting a lot of new information. And of course, we will be going through that throughout the day here on Live Now from Fox. But I want to keep our coverage going on this topic that has a lot of people talking. We are now bringing in legal analyst Bryan Silber. Thank you so much again for joining us here on Live Now to really break down. There's a lot of news that came out of this affidavit that we have not heard about yet. So this is a big day, and we just saw Bryan there in the courtroom.
Yeah, absolutely. So my first impression is that, the hearing itself is fairly standard. This happens in every case. The person's brought before the judge, they're advised of their charges. And in any case that has a victim or a victim family involved, the court will almost always order a no contact order. And that's just standard form so that there's no harassing contact. Certainly in a case that involves violence, that is a very normal protocol to have. Nobody should really read into it. That's something that happens literally in every single case, of this type. But I got to tell you, I've seen a copy of that probable cause affidavit. And the one word that comes to mind is bone chilling. That's what I would say about it. It's absolutely bone chilling.
Yeah, I think
I don't know what that wavy sound is.
Okay.
Yep. That's all I wanted to bring y'all. Little something short, little something quick. But I wanted to have our own opinion on it. You know, I wanted us to have our own opinion on it, our own thoughts on it. And I wanted to say good morning to my peeps. So good morning, CWG. I hope everybody having a blessed day in the best way. And this is Nitty and his family. Speaking to the CWG family, and hoping and praying that everybody having a great, blessed, safe, and prosperous day. Yup, and I'm glad he didn't get released. I'm glad he didn't get released. I think that would have been like the worst thing you could have did to their family. You know, basically to relive the trauma over and over again, and having the thought of him still running around after murdering or being accused of murdering 4 people, which is crazy to me. Is only I know everybody probably know a lot. Everybody know their own thing, but what's crazy to me, I was like, they said he was just finna graduate. He was just finna graduate for getting his PhD. He was just finna graduate from getting his PhD in criminal law or something to that, right? He was into, you know, criminal law and you know, researching people that got away with murder or why they was murderers. And I guess it just twisted his brains. It twisted his brain to want to do the same and find out what triggers murderers or whatever he was trying to research. He lived it. You know, he just ain't research it. He lived it. So it's a shame that happened. It's misfortunate. Condolence to all the family. But I just thought we'd have our own words on it. CWG, you rock. Thanks for stopping in, kicking it with me, fading with me, kicking it with your brother Frank Nitty, 2 T's like 2 titties. And I guess things happen everywhere in life. Cause this was Idaho, man. I mean, this was Idaho. Now I ain't trying to laugh. I don't mean to laugh anyway, but I'm just saying for Idaho, I thought all they had in Idaho was potatoes. I didn't know it was all this going on. You know, only thing I knew about Idaho was potatoes, and I watched that movie back in the days with Richard Pryor. What was it called? Moving? It was called Moving. That was a funny movie too. One of the funniest movies out there, man. And I watched that movie with Richard Pryor, and I thought, what was that? Boise? What was that? Boise or Idaho? Boise, Idaho? Something like that it was. But that's the only thing I knew about Idaho. I didn't know all this was going on. So I guess things happen everywhere. And people just need to be extra careful and pick your friends very wisely. And lock your doors, man. Lock your doors. And take care of yourself. Stay blessed. Stay in the best health. This Nitty, D-City, straight gritty, no pity. And we out, baby. I just thought we'd have our own opinion on it. Everybody have a blessed day. I'll come back later. Yup, I got my daughter on hold. You know I had to put her on pause, you know, so I can get this in. But let me let her go ahead and have her time playing and enjoying her day. I just had to get it in. Everybody have a blessed one, man. I'm out. Deuces.